So I always love your posts. They always make sense to me. I always get like an additional pearl of wisdom that I didn't have before. The one that made me say, could we please book him, please get him on the show, was one in which you were talking about, this is the condensed version. Today, parents do way too much for their children and they steal their self-esteem. And you are making the point that you may think you're doing all the household chores or whatever it is. In our neighborhood, all the parents drop their kids off at the bus stop. Like, what? Right? I mean, back in my day, we had to walk to the bus stop and wait for they sit in these beautiful SUVs and whatever. You may think you're helping or being kind to your child, and you are making the point that's a you thing. You're doing that to make yourself feel good, and you are stealing something important from your kid in the process. Let's kick it off there.
Well, because parents are working so hard, they often have this tremendous guilt about not spending enough time with their children. And so they do, thinking it's somehow benefiting them, but really it's building the parent's self-esteem by stealing your child's. There's this great study out of Harvard where they followed kids literally over 70 years, looking at what goes with health, success, and longevity. And the only thing that went with self-esteem was whether or not you worked as a child, whether or not you had a paper route or you had chores at home, or you actually, like me, I had a job. My dad owned grocery stores, and from the time I was 10, I went to work. And what working does is it boosts your sense of competence. And competence is directly related to self-esteem. So if you're solving all of your children's problems, they don't feel competent and thus don't feel very good about themselves.
No, I see this with parents all the time where they solve their child's problems, not necessarily speaking about homework, but just the kid comes up with, well, this kid did this to me. And rather than teaching the child how to think it through, they say, this is what you should do. And I think a lot of parents enjoy the dependency that results from that.
No question that they get in their mind more connection. And, it's so rewarding. Take the wisdom you've gained over decades and pour it down your child's brain. The problem is it just doesn't work. What we're teaching them is to not be competent. And when a child says, I'm bored, rather than go, well, you could do this or you could do that, or how about we do this together, just repeat it back. It's like, you're bored. I wonder what you're going to do about it. And then be quiet long enough for them to generate their own solutions. Parents talk way too much. And in raising mentally strong kids, I talk about the first thing is know what you want. What kind of parent do you want to be? What kind of child do you want to raise? I want to raise mentally strong kids. Well, that means I have to teach them to solve problems. I can't do it for them. And then the second thing, it's bonding. And bonding requires two things: time, actual physical time. Parents are so busy and so distracted by their own devices that they're not spending time with children. And really important, a willingness to listen. So when your child says something, I'm bored, rather than solve it for them, go, just repeat back what you hear. It's what therapists do all the time, at least.
Right.
And wait for them to fill in the blank, because they're filling it in using their brain to generate options.
And what if they say, what can I do? What can I do? Mom, what can I do?
They're like, I wonder. What can you do? And
What
then
can
be
you do?
quiet. And then be quiet so that their brain works to fill in. Now, after 5 minutes, if they're like, what can I do? What can I do? Do you want to hear maybe what other kids might do? And then generate options. But as soon as you generate options, they're going to argue with them. And,
But I think what
and
you said is very interesting. Like how to build, everybody wants to build mentally tough kids, resilient kids. Now, growing up in the 70s, the way that my mom did it was she just insulted me a lot. I'm kind of joking, but there's a little truth to it. I don't know. She didn't coddle us, is my point. Never coddled us. And she never told us we were good at something that we weren't good at, ever. So I always had a very keen sense of what was an actual skill versus a fake skill. You know what I mean? I never overjudged my capacity for something. Now, I'm a lot nicer than my mom was. So then I worry, am I going to raise soft kids? Do I need to insult them more? What is the way forward?
Well, I think the way forward is bonding and connection and modeling. You really want to raise brain healthy kids is you have to live the message. You have to model it. And the more you model a healthy brain, a healthy mind, healthy relationships, if your children like you, and this is very important, if they don't like you, they pick the opposite values. So growing up, I did not have a good relationship with my dad. He worked all the time. The only time I saw him is when I went to work with him, and he tended to notice what was wrong about me more than what was right about me. 1972, I turn 18. It's the first time I can vote. He says, if I vote for McGovern, the country will go to hell. I vote for McGovern, and the country went to hell, but it had nothing to do with McGovern. It was all Nixon. But it was the lack of bonding and connection that drove me to do the opposite of him. If he would have spent time with me, listened to me, now I'm one of 7, so it was chaos in my family, but it would have been much different. Now, later on in life, he's my best friend, and we vote in a similar way, but it's so important, that connection. And that bonding is not doing everything they want you to do. Bonding is time, it's listening, and helping them learn to be competent.
You don't go out and buy a life jacket when the boat's already sinking, and you don't buy gold when the economy's already collapsed. Clearly, others are heeding this advice as gold hit all-time highs already this year. It's not too late for you, and you could have Birch Gold help you diversify into physical gold. Birch Gold specializes in helping you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA and physical gold for no money out of pocket. One recent 5-star review said Birch Gold was, quote, knowledgeable, helpful, non-pressure. Get your free info kit on gold by texting the letters MK to the number 989898. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, just text MK to 989898 and let the experts at Birch Gold help you secure your future today with gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.